Opportunities for the incoming Trump administration to reform federal labor law start with overturning recent Biden-era NLRB decisions and returning to legal precedent that have been the law of the land for decades. A few examples. Non-compete agreements. At an Associated Builders and Contractors event with Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, an ABC member pointed out that non-compete agreements are important in the industry for a number of reasons. President Trump and his National Labor Relations Board can reverse the Biden era's new interpretation that held non-compete agreements to be against federal law. The same goes for stay or pay agreements, such as signing bonuses or other incentives that are tied to an employee actually working for some period of time after they realize the benefit. A second issue is automatic bargaining orders. In the CMEX decision from the NLRB, the Biden NLRB introduced unprecedented changes to union recognition procedures. If a union claims that a majority of employees in an appropriate bargaining unit want to be represented by the union, under this new rule, the employer has just 2 weeks to file an election petition. If the employer fails to file the petition, or if the union alleges an unfair labor practice during the election campaign, the NLRB has now given itself power to order an employer to bargain with a union, even without an election. Overturning CMEX and returning to 90 years' worth of process is the best path forward. A third example is handbook rules. You may remember this one from the President Obama years. The Biden administration made it easier for an employee to claim that a handbook rule, such as rules regarding workplace conduct, prohibited them from engaging in protected concerted activity. The NLRB of President Trump changed the standard in his first term, but the Biden NLRB changed it back. In this incoming Trump administration, they can go back to the prior standard and return some common sense to federal labor law. And I would propose on this and many other issues that Congress steps in and makes some of these reasonable middle ground standards part of the actual law. Federal labor law has for too long flip-flopped depending on what presidential administration is in office. My hope is for Congress to step in and start putting some rules into the actual law and taking power out of the hands of unelected, appointed bureaucrats at the NLRB. This potential for Congress and President Trump to change actual labor law starts with you. ABC's Legislative Committee has been working hard to promote ABC members' interests in the Wisconsin Capitol as well as the nation's capital. I encourage all of those watching to contact their elected officials to share stories about your experience with labor and your desire for real, meaningful reforms. Pick up the phone or send an email to your congressmen and senators asking them to implement real, meaningful changes to federal labor law in the next term of Congress. In addition, contact ABC's John Scholze if you're willing to help with these legislative efforts.